Welcome back. About a minute past 9 a.m. How hot or cold is your coffee? It is quite cold, by the way, quite chilly in Nairobi, but then we still serve you hot, and we're still serving you what will be happening today. And just a reminder of our day's diary. First off, taking a look at what will be happening in the Parliament. Today, there will be the whole inquiry into the maize flour subsidy program for the financial year 2022 all the way to 2023 by the National Assembly. And we also expect to see the whole chair of the Departmental Committee on Matters Agriculture on the same. We'll be keeping eyes and ears on that also. And still on the National Assembly Departmental Committee on Energy will today hold a meeting with the Business Registration Service, that is BRS Director Kenneth Gathuma. So the main agenda will be to unmask the ownership of independent power producers, that is IPPs. Another interesting conversation there. And in matters, before actually cross to matters business, still on matters the national and Parliament, basically the Senate Committee on Health will hold a stakeholder meeting with the Minister of Health, Council of Governors, County Assemblies Forum, Kenya Health Professionals Oversight Authority. Purpose will be to receive oral submissions on Community Health Services Bill 2023. There's just but a few of what will be happening in Parliament this Thursday. In matters business today, Stanbic Holdings PLC will announce its 2023 half-year results today from, basically it was to start some hours ago, maybe 2 hours ago, around 7:15 a.m., all the way to 10:30 a.m. So we'll be getting to see how that is unfolding. And in matters Africa, today is a Civil Registration and Vital Statistics Day. Probably wondering what this is. Let me tell you. So Africa Civil Registration and Vital Statistics Day is celebrated on the 10th of August every year with the aim of increasing public awareness on the importance of the timely registration of vital events, particularly births and deaths, through well-functioning civil registration and vital statistics systems. And from that also, and still in Africa, another important day today, you probably are learning this today. Today is Africa Decentralization and Local Development Day. So this day is celebrated on the 10th of August each and every year. AU member states celebrate the African Decentralization ADD. So it is a well-established tradition that the ADD's theme is aligned with the African Union theme of the year. The AU theme chosen for this year is accelerating the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area. So we will be seeing how even Kenya, as an AU member state, will be the voice that it will have on this also. Again, still in matters learning, we'll say here on Morning Cafe, you learn a new thing every day. So you're probably learning this today. Back in 2019, this is today in history, back in 2019, a fuel tank explosion kills scores in Morogoro, that is in Tanzania, as people siphon petrol from crashed tanker in 2019. And all the way now in matters sports, in 2013, the 14th IAAF World Championships was opened in Moscow, Russia. That is today's in history. Now back in Kenya, before actually take a look at what you will expect today in courts, I can see Cabinet Secretary of Foreign Affairs Alfred Mutua is in Maputo, that is in Mozambique. And according to the Cabinet Secretary on his X page, or if you prefer, on his Twitter page, he says that he is clearing the path, well, if you may, for President William Ruto, who will have a state visit in that particular country there. So, okay, let me just have this. Okay. Yes, so that is, we will expect that anytime this particular weekend. Remember, President William Ruto had a whole 5-day tour from Saturday all the way to Wednesday, which was yesterday in the Mount Kenya region. So we do expect to see if President William Ruto will actually be touring Maputo and basically Mozambique, and any kind of deals that will be signed in that area. Now let's take a look at what to expect today in matters courts, and this has to really be the big story for today. Shanzu Court will today rule on whether it will allow the state to have cult leader Paul Mackenzie and 28 other co-accused persons detained for further 47 days. So basically they have already spent about 90 days in custody, and the Director of Public Prosecutions on August 2nd applied to have the police allowed to continue holding the suspects for at least 7 weeks to finish the probe. So Mackenzie, his wife Rhoda Maweu, and the co-accused are facing at least 12 charges, including murder, counseling and aiding suicide, abduction, radicalization, genocide, crimes against humanity, child cruelty, fraud, and money laundering. They're being blamed for the involvement in the deaths of over 425 people whose bodies have been exhumed from the Shakahola forest. So according to the state, it is better to invest more time in compelling investigations and do all that is necessary to expedite the hearing and the disposal of the case. Our reporters are on ground that particular place in Mombasa, and we'll be getting to know how that will be unfolding. And still in matters courts, corridors of justice today at the Milimani Law Courts, Medihill Hospital has filed a case challenging allegations leveled against them on organ harvesting. So Medihill case comes after Francis Owino, this is a human rights crusader, petitioned the High Court seeking to have the DCI compelled to investigate the hospital and, if found culpable, instruct the DPP to criminally prosecute it for breaching the law. That is what we will expect today. And former director of Children's Home to defend himself in a defilement case. So a former director of Children's Home who is serving 100 years behind bars for defiling 4 minors entrusted in his care will today defend himself in another defilement case at Milimani Court. We'll also be updating you as it goes on in different parts of the country. And also in Kisii County, we'll be linking up with Alpha Combo later on just to look at the office, some of the stakeholders of the Office of Commissioners of Office of the Commissioners of Data Protection, visiting the Kisii County, and we'll be having a meeting with security stakeholders. We have been, hearing a lot from them these past weeks, even on matters WorldCoin. So we will expect to see how that will be unfolding today. And actually, by the speaking of Kisii, Alfayo Kombo is right there, and he's ready for us. Alfayo, good morning, or as Foxmen say, Wakire. That particular bit that I was talking about on matters data protection, how is it unfolding? Has this particular meeting started? And also away from that, also I believe you'll be taking a look at awareness of anti-FGM and GBV. Maybe if you have a little bit of statistics there, update us please, Alfayo.
Thank you very much, Stanley Nyaringita. I'm getting you very well from this side of Kisii County. Particularly, I am standing at the Kisii main stage, whereby today you can see that most of the schools in Kisii County have already closed their schools. And we are seeing a lot of students flocked here at the stage, and it's very, very busy, being that it was raining early in the morning, and now the situation is very calm. And if I may bring you up to speed on what has been expected to happen today here at Kisii County. Today we are expecting a section of a team from the Office of the Commissioner of Data Protection Unit, where they'll be visiting here in Kisii County at Nyaribari Church constituency here at Kisii Central Ward, where they'll be having a meeting with several stakeholders of security in order to ensure that different people, in order to come with mitigations on data protection. This is happening after last week we saw a large number of people flocking at the KICC where this issue of WorldCoin registration that was being halted by the CS of the Interior CS, with Kithure Kindiki. And yesterday we saw that the CS of ICT, who is Eliud Owalo, together with the CS Interior, who is Kithure Kindiki, were having the Parliament answering several questions. And with this issue, today we are seeing that today the members of from the different members from the protection unit and data protection unit will be having the meeting here at Kisii County in order to come with some mitigations on what should be done in order to make sure that the data of people are being protected. But with me here, I'll be speaking with some of the residents in Kisii County and also talk about the issue. The schools are being closed right now, and as we can see, the new education era, whereby the education, the university students are expected to be joining end month, and we are seeing that there is increase of school fees. And maybe talking with one of the residents in Kisii County to tell us what is your view. Pengine unaonaje kuhusiana na masomo ya vyuo vikuu ikiwa kwamba fedha zimeweza kuongezeka? Wewe kama mzazi unaisije?
Kwa majina mimi naitwa Jenny Ongeri, nafanya na Matatu Workers. Hii serikali yetu ya Mheshimiwa William Ruto wameongeza karo sana ya university. Imagine saa zingine mzazi ameuza shamba. Saa zingine ameuza shamba, amelipa school fees. Imagine hapo sio mzuri. University tulikuwa tunalipa 60 per semester. Sasa hii imeongezeka mpaka 100. Hiyo ni mbaya kabisa. Mimi naomba hii serikali ya Mheshimiwa William Ruto at least mujaribu kupunguza hiyo school fees. Ndio tutaweza kupeleka watoto wetu university. Hakuna mambo ya kuingiza watoto university kama hii mwezi wa 9 ndio Initech inaendelea. Sidhani kama watoto wengi wataingia university juu school fees imeenda juu. Hakuna mashamba ya vitu ya kulisha watoto. Labda uko na mtoto university unapeleka, na kuna wadogo wanahitaji kukura, mahitaji imekuwa juu. Sasa tutaenda wapi?
Pengine je, unahisi kwamba mtoto kutoka familia maskini ataweza kukimu kulipa karo hii wakati wamebadilisha waweza kubadilika? Kwa sababu tunaona kwamba serikali inasema kwamba kuna njia ambayo wataweza kufanya ili mtoto kutoka familia maskini aweze kupata masomo.
Kutoka familia maskini hawezi kujoin university kabisa. Hata hiyo shamba nilisema ati kuuza shamba hakuna nani ataenda kununua. Hata nikiwa na hiyo shamba nani ataenda kununua? Hakuna pesa.
Asante sana. Pia tuweze kupata vile kutoka kwa mzazi mmoja hapa aweze kutueleza. Je, pengine uweze kusonga nyuma kidogo, utueleze hisia zako ni zipi, na unahisi kuhusiana na huu mfumo mpya wa kulipa karo wa chuo kikuu? Je, unahisi kwamba wanafunzi wataweza kujiingia katika vyuo au mtoto kutoka familia maskini ataweza kulipa?
Mimi kwa majina ni Jackson Onsarigo, ni mwalimu tena nimesoma. Kwa kusema ukweli, watu hatujaelewa. Wacha serikali itueleze hii mfumo vile iko. Vile walielezea chana, kila mwanafunzi ambaye amefanya form 4 na amequalify kwa university will be funded by the government. Wale ambao wachiwezi awalipi kitu, it's zero. Sasa tuliangalia chana. Hii mfumo ni vile watu hawatuelewa bado. Hii samani the government was paying about 3,000. Kuna vitu vingine watu hawaangalii kwa hiyo system ya samani. The government was paying 16,000, the parent was paying 16,000, but kuna vitu vingine kama computer, wifi, vitu mingi kwa universities, and it was not catering to all faculties. but hii mfumo ni mzuri, ni vile watu hawataelezwa waelewi. Vile walielezea jana, we were listening tulikuwa kuangalia kwa TV, system ilifanya vitu mzuri, tulielewa most of the things. For example, vile tulisoma hapa, all university students, first public universities will get funded by the government. Every student from the rich or poor will receive at least 93%. For example, kama mwanafunzi fee 200,000 and yule ambaye anachuweza analipa 7%, is about kama 200 is about 14,000. That's very very little from the previous system. So hii system ni mzuri. Let the government come out and do civic education so that the parents should understand. That's my feeling. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Stanley Nyarugita. As you have been able to hear, this is one of a teacher and one of the residents who has a parent who is expecting to take us his or her student to the campus or joining the university. So as you have heard, the parents are requesting the government to be able to give civic education to parents and other stakeholders or the nation at large in order to be able to understand this new system of education and the modalities of school fees payment in the universities. Stanley Nyarugita, I think today that's much that will be bringing to our viewers from this side of Kisii. Later we'll be telling them more about and be visiting different parents who are having children who are being expected to join the universities not later than end month of this month, and I'll be going to the hotel where the security data protection unit stakeholders will be having their meeting. That's that I can bring you up to speed right now, and we'll be here, we'll be holding tight here in Kisii County in order to be informing you anything that will be arising anytime from now. I don't have much to say. Stanley Nyarugita, I'll be passing back the mantle to you in studio. Stanley.
All right, Mbiamono sana, as the folk back in Kisii say thank you, Alfaya Kombo, for that, and we'll definitely be following up on that pertinent issues raised there by residents, even as we expect the official closing date for the second term of the school calendar for this year to be tomorrow, which is on Friday. But then yesterday and also today, we have been seeing a number of students and pupils actually exit from school, and even as parents really prepare for the third term fees. I don't know how Fred is really prepared for this as a parent. Definitely a huge number of fees.
Yes, they're closing school tomorrow. By tomorrow, all schools should have closed, and they'll be opening by the 27th of August. Mm-hmm. So they only have about 2 to 3 weeks or thereabout of holiday, which is a good thing. Then third term, they go back and do their final exams before we prepare for an even longer holiday starting in November. So not much of a change right now. It is a good time for parents to actually spend time with their children as well.
But then, but then I feel like this is just one of those moments where, as a child, you're really asking your parent for anything to be bought. Your parent says, "Unajua ile fees nafaa kukulipia third term."
Yes, I remember it is actually almost mid-month right now. Yeah. So when they're closing school, and I know many young girls, when they close school, they want a change of hairstyle. Mm-hmm. They want to look good during the holidays. Many parents will not be keen on that because, at the end of this month, actually not before the end of this month, school fees is required. And remember,
and double house.
Yes, remember that double taxation that we were talking about last week. The fact that it will be backdated back to 1st of July, meaning that the available money to actually pay school fees and do other things will be much less than previously anticipated. So yes, it is time for parents to actually tighten their budgets and prepare for the new term.
Actually, speaking of tightening budgets, I can see even an inter-office memorandum here from the Nairobi Hospital, and speaks largely on how different organizations are really doing this. Just telling them, be advised, as guided by KRA, the Affordable Housing Levy, an additional pay implemented in July 2023 payroll, will be recovered from your respective salaries in August 2023. The organization is mandated to effect these changes by law, and therefore will have to comply with this directive that will affect majority of institutions and households across the country. Well, they have attached his KRA notice for your reference. And well, it goes on to say...
It is a reality.
Yeah.
It is happening. The good thing is that at least on the dailies today, civil servants and other public state officers will be getting a pay increase. So probably this will slightly cushion a few Kenyans when it comes to how much money will be left in their banks after KRA take away the tax, the payee. How much are you able to spend? Yeah.
Yeah, and I definitely hope that cuts across all board, because even as you increase these taxes, we have to match them with whatever the employees are getting, so that you don't suafinya sana.
Yes, definitely. The other big talking point today and yesterday also was this scorecard on parliamentary performance.
Yes.
And I remember you mentioned that your member of parliament is among those who have not been mentioned in very good light.
It is sad to be reading that, and she's all over the papers.
And yes, this report is by Zalendo Watch, which follows what's happening at the National Assembly and the Houses of Senate. It's a 44-page report that outlines exactly the scope of work, how they gauged the performance of members of parliament, and most active members: Honorable Makali Mulu from Wiper Party, Beatrice Elachi, MP Dagoretti North ODM, James Nyikal, Seme ODM, Ken Chonga, Kilifi South ODM, Geoffrey Kiringa, Ruku, Mbere North DP. Interestingly, UDA is not there, despite the fact, and this is, I'm talking about the top 5 most active members.
Yes.
Even when it comes to the most active women MPs, Beatrice Elachi Dagoretti North ODM,
Yes.
Sarah Korere Laikipia North Jubilee, Beatrice Kemei Kericho UDA, at least there's one there, Lilian Gogo Rangwe ODM, and then Phyllis Barto Moiben UDA. Congratulations to them, and kudos to the good job you're doing.
Yes.
Should we actually talk about those who are least active?
And the list active members is endless.
Yes, it's a longer list, about 15 who've never made a single contribution in Parliament.
I know.
And it's interesting.
And that's hard, though, and it's sad because they had an opportunity to speak during the discussions of the Finance Bill 2023.
Absolutely. Yes.
So if you are voted in by your you're voted in by your constituents, at least have a say. At least if it's a sentence on your thoughts about Finance Bill 2023, you may not have been able to peruse it through because it was, quite bulky, but then you have been following up on this.
Absolutely.
So at least, have a say on it.
And, it is sad because even we've had some publicly say that they just voted because these people are voting yes, and others voted just because others were voting no.
Yeah.
I think you owe it to your constituents to know what really happens in the parliament, and when you're voting that a yes or no for that a specific bill, one that is affects the common mwananchi like the finance bill, I think it's really important that you understand what really is going on, other than just saying yes and no concerning a bill that will affect the people who voted you in for the next 5 years plus.
But at least those ones who voted yes or no. Probably, if at all they took part in the debate, it would help.
Yes.
And my director reminds me of how this issue was captured on Taifa Leo today. That headline, Mabubu 15 bungeni. And then the other reference is Chiriku, meaning they are noisy outside, but when it comes to Parliament, they can't open their mouths.
But it's interesting, even for Oscar Sudi, in the previous parliament, he was quite vocal, if I'm not wrong. So it's interesting how this parliament, we are not seeing him as vocal.
Some may argue it's an issue of language, but hey, remember that Kiswahili is also allowed in the
Absolutely,
house.
yes.
You can actually use Swahili to communicate and debate, and even a mix of the two. No one would actually say you're wrong if you do that.
Yeah.
The other issue is about the age of some of these MPs, and the report has done us justice to talk about the most active youth MPs. So we will not even bother too much about those who are not talking.
Yes.
Let's congratulate those ones who are doing it.
Yes.
Who are doing well. And so the most active youth MPs, Gitonga Mukunji, Manyata constituency, UDM. UDA.
UDA, yes.
Irene Mayaka, a nominated MP, ODM. Joseph Lelmengit, Mgwen constituency MP, UDA. Robert Ngui Basil, Yata MP, Wiper. Joshua Kimilu, Kaiti MP, Wiper. Amos Mwago, Starehe MP, Jubilee. Now, it's also important to note which parties are featuring most.
Yes.
Yes? Which parties nominated the most active members to parliament? Which party has the most active members, even elected members to parliament? Because out of the least active youth MPs, who are 3 of them, all 3 have come from one party, and that's UDA.
Oh, interesting.
Interesting.
But then, okay, even before we take a short break, this again now speaks largely on last year during the whole parties when they were actually nominating some of these members. Again, do they really look at who will actually represent as well when they go to parliament?
Yes, that's a question 1 year on, after you went to the polls to actually make that decision. And before we just take a break, let's take note of the senators as well, the best performing senators, most active in the House. Samson Cherargei, Nandi Senator, UDA. Eddie Okech Migori Senator, ODM. John Kenyo Laikipia Senator, UDA. Mohamed Faki Mombasa Senator, ODM. And Tabitha Mutinda, nominated Senator, UDA. And those are the 5, and to them, kudos and a clap for you.
It's
At
interesting
least
to see Cherargei there.
he did something good.
Oh, yes.
And he's among the younger members of the Senate as
Yes,
well.
yeah.
He's fairly young.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what many people do not know. He's also the most active young senator, Senator Samson Cherargei. Congratulations.
And speaking of young, Youth Day is coming this Saturday. So we expect again to see how you really always be there calling upon them, young members of parliament.
Perhaps this is a wake-up call for them.
Yes.
This specific research by Mzalendo Trust is a wake-up call for those youthful leaders, and also the faces we see here, Sudi Karauri, Arama, among other 15 MPs who are yet to utter a word in the House 11 months down the line.
Okay.
Right, let's take a short break. We'll be right back with Shule Chilengat give us an update on what we should expect today.
Water shortage problem in the area. Accessing water has really been a challenge for most of the residents in Wajir North constituency. And you know, being an area that is semi-arid, they have a problem of water flooding in this area. And therefore, let us take a look at what they have done to survive.
Dry air, dusty roads and howling winds welcomes us to Lensayu area in Wajir North constituency, and residents say the cold season has begun. The weather condition would otherwise be harsher. Lensayu is a small village that sits under these rocks, playing host to the Ajuran clan of the Somali community. These beautiful rocks making quite a statement on the scenery here. This village has not received rains for a long time. The months of June, July and August are considered the most dry here. Water levels drop to minimum levels, causing acute water shortages during the dry season. This has forced residents to travel several miles in search of water, with women and children bearing the greatest responsibility. They say it has been a while since this shallow dam was full to the brim. And since water from this shallow dam cannot be consumed, their search leads them up this dangerously steep rock. Dahira Abdi Karim is one of the many women who have walked for 3 kilometers here today. And she has with her 6 jerrycans, one jerrycan after the other. She goes up this rock. These older boys help fetch the water. Not so clean to the eye, but it is what is available. This water accumulated here during the rainy season, and it is quickly drying up. Now it is time to ferry them down, and one after the other, she cautiously descends.
The drought was here with us, and before we were using water bowsers. We even could go to Buna to fetch water, which is about 50 kilometers from here. 3 people have lost their lives here. Others have fallen down and gotten injured. The government should sink boreholes here, or better still, pump down the water.
Others, like Farhia, also share the same worries as Dahira's.
Fear for my life, but I have to go up that rock for water because I do not have another option.
Despite being close to a shallow water dam, both say they cannot use its water.
Water is used for livestock only because they cannot climb up this rock. There was a time there was a cholera outbreak for people who consumed this water.
For now, this water will last Dahira at least 2 days before she is back here for more. So she sets off home. The water scarcity problem is also faced by hospitals in the area. This one, for instance, is adjacent to this shallow dam, but still lacks this precious liquid.
Maji Buna sub-county nzima, maji borehole ni moja ambaye ina supply town nzima. Sasa kitu kama hospitali tunapewa siku 2, siku 3 tunakosa.
Wajir County is home to over 350 boreholes, shallow dams and mega water pans. This constituency, however, continues to lag behind with only about 3 water pans, according to the area member of parliament, Ibrahim Saneh.
Quite often, we sink and then we go into losses. We don't really get productive wells.
The consolidated sedimentary and limestone rocks in Wajir exhibit substantial and promising groundwater potential, and successful boreholes here tap the more permeable zone. But in Lensayu, it is different.
Predominantly, this soil down is a rock, I believe. And hardly do we find an aquifer that is productive to give us underground water. So the underground water potential is poor.
For now, this community continues to bear the brunt of water challenges worsened by climate change-induced droughts in the area.
This is the hassle that residents here face to get clean water for use at home. And for close to 3 kilometers, they will push this jerrycan like this until they get home. Sheila Chelangat for TV47 in Lensayu, Wajir North. Quite a hassle there. And on the second part, we delved into the roads and infrastructure in the area. 60 years after independence, and most of the residents there say they have not seen even a tarmac road in the area, and they want the government to walk the talk and bring changes to their constituency. Take a look.
Over 800 kilometers from the capital, Nairobi, and 11 hours on the road, we are ushered into Wajir North, which sits on a plain about 150 meters above sea level to the east and 400 meters to the north. The last tarmac to this area ends at Oda, about 80 kilometers away. Majority of residents here have not seen a tarmac road since their existence and have been choking with dust from these roads for decades.
Mimi nimezaliwa huku. Na tangu nimezaliwa nikakuwa kubwa na barabara iko hivyo tu. Sijaona mabadiliko yote.
Sasa hii niko na miaka 32 years. Tangu nimezaliwa sijawahi ona lami.
10 a.m. and this bus has arrived in Buna. Its driver is preparing to set off for almost another 8 hours on the road to Wajir town, about double the amount of time it would have used if the roads were in good condition. And many here say it gets worse when it rains.
Mvua ikinyesha achana nao. Siku 3 tunachukua kutoka Wajir hadi Buna. Na ile pesa tunalipa ni pesa ambayo mtu anazalipia kutoka Wajir mpaka Nairobi.
During the rainy season, rainwater from the Ethiopian highlands flood this area in large volumes, sweeping anything on its path away. This bridge here was not spared during the last rainy season, and locals have been forced to reroute this road.
We are on the bed that cuts through Buna and Bute, and the bridge behind me would be the one connecting Buna to Bute and then Ethiopia. But as it stands, it was destroyed during the previous rainy season, and it is unclear on when it will be repaired.
The impact of the floods would soon be felt downstream. Najma Aidan is a businesswoman here in Buna, and she has been forced to move her shop on many occasions due to flooding.
Nimehamishwa na maji nimekuja hapo. Hiyo maji si mara kwanza imenifanya hivyo. Hata 2019 nilikuwa nimefanya hivyo. Nimesarika sana.
This has impacted negatively on businesses. Traders say transporting goods here during the rainy season is an uphill task.
Wajir bridge imeharibika. Vitu ziletwa na mgongo kutoka Laga hapa upande nini. Hiyo njia hakuna. Watu wanabeba na gunia, gari inasimama almost 5 kilometers from hiyo Laga. Wanaleta na mgongo, wanaleta pandi.
Even as the residents here hope for the wheels of change to turn in the area, they indicate that their hope is becoming dimmer.
Wakipewa contract watengeneze Maram road mzuri, hawatengenezi. Hasa kama Maram mwenyewe haiwezi tengenezwa vizuri, tarmac road kweli itakuja.
In the past financial years, Wajir County has allocated a lion's share to roads and infrastructure, only that the residents here in Wajir North are yet to see it.
You can imagine the situation of dying out of drought, lack of water, and when it rains, water is lost through this channel. So we really need to make our roads motorable. Here we don't need culverts. We need a big bridge.
Many are hopeful that if this becomes a reality, then the face of this dusty town will be uplifted. It is a sad state of affairs here in Wajir, with most saying they have not seen even a tarmac road since they were born. And the question that now lingers among most is, why have they been forgotten? Sheila Chelangat for TV47 in Korondile, Wajir North.
Quite a story there. And on the last part tonight, we delve into the newfound love of pastoralists turned farmers, agriculture. Could this region actually become the next food hub of this nation? Because most of the farmers there say they want to be producing more for even export across our borders. So let's take a look at that and stay tuned for more. You definitely do not want to miss that part.
Right, thank you, Sheila Chelangat. By the way, we were really looking at this, and we were like, I really wanted to be in Wajir and quite experience this. We do take for granted even the water that we use here, and speaks largely on the whole crafters of devolution. 10 years ago, they sat down to really think about the arid and semi-arid lands, to really solve this and, bring the decentralization of government to these places, to have, resources equitably shared among these places. So 10 years later,
still having the same problem. And of course, we do hope that we can have a long-lasting solution for these areas, because I believe there are ways that we can maximize the resources that they have there to even be able to provide at least basic needs for those residents in those specific counties.
Yeah, and I've just been going through the list of members of parliament and senators and their performance and looking for any member who represents that area. And
your area.
Curiously, what we've just been watching.
Wajir, okay.
Curiously, I cannot trace any among the most active or the least active. So they're just there in between.
Not anywhere.
Somewhere. Because the whole point, the whole reason why we go to the polls should ideally be to elect leaders who are going to to enact laws or to pursue development that is going to make our lives easier as a country. And but then again, the voter sometimes just does it to reward a few people or to punish others sometimes. And then again, you cannot come back and blame your leader if that is the reason you elected them to the Houses of Parliament. But yes, definitely something to look forward to, oasis of hope later on tonight.
Yes, definitely. And even speak about the whole countdown of hours and days. It is about 4 days for the devolution conference. We only have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday until all roads lead to Eldoret Sports Club, Uasin Gishu County. So again, such matters will be at the heart of the talks. By the way, before we actually wrap it up, another bit for the county diary today. Today we will expect to see the Senate ad hoc committee led by Tana River Senator, that is Danson Mungatana. The committee will be meeting Director of DCI, Amin Mohammed, Johansen Oduor, who's the chief pathologist, and also Kilifi Senator Stewart Madzayo. We will expect to see how this will be unfolding. Well, on the other hand, as this unfolds, the Senate ad hoc committee in the Senate, all the way in Mombasa, in Shanzu Lokots, whether Mackenzie and 28 other co-accused will be detained for 47 days further.
Interesting enough, and we definitely hope to see justice served, because we've lost a number of people, more than 500 people right now, and the investigations still continue. And we also hope that now the government will be a little bit more ready to deal with such issues, because of late we've been served with crisis after crisis, and it just comes as a shock for our government. Not only Shakahola, but also WorldCoin is another crisis in the making. We hope that we are a little bit more ready to solve this crisis, or solve them before they actually happen, and we are not just caught off guard when it comes to such issues.
I feel like you're heading to be philosophical today. So do we give you the chance?
Absolutely. I do have a quote here by the one and only Nelson Mandela. He says, "Lead from the back and let others believe they are in front." That's my quote of the day. Do have a lovely day. I'm Flora Limuke.
Well, I do have a proverb, an African proverb. A bird that flies off the earth and lands on an anthill is still on the ground. And that's what I leave you with. My name is Fred Ndimuli. Have a lovely morning.
And I'm usually Stanley Nyaringita. When we started around 6 a.m., and I've got quite a number of feedback for this, I gave you an African proverb. When it's cold, no woman is ugly.